Have you ever considered that the life you see every day might not be life at all, but only the version your mind allows you to perceive? It is unsettling to imagine that we can spend decades believing we are fully alive, when in truth we are only scratching the surface of something far greater. From childhood, we are taught to see existence as a ladder of achievements, as if an invisible checklist waits to be completed. Study, get a good job, marry, buy a house, raise children, secure, stability, retire. It sounds reasonable, it feels safe, but is this truly living or only following a script written by others? Most people repeat this pattern without question. We grow up hearing lines like, "Work hard now, enjoy life later," or "Your time for happiness will come." These sayings sound wise but hide a silent trap. They postpone life itself. How many times have you told yourself you will be happy when you get that promotion, when you save enough, when you meet the right person, when the last debt is gone? And yet, when those moments finally arrive, the joy lasts only briefly before a new condition takes its place. This cycle is cruel because it never ends. Life turns into a waiting room. With every milestone, we feel closer to happiness, yet the finish line always moves further away. It is like chasing the horizon. No matter how far you run, it stays distant. This is not failure on your part, it is the design of the human mind. It projects fulfillment into the future, keeping us too distracted to notice the present. Here lies the first disturbing revelation. Life is not what you think it is. What we call living is often only a reduced version, distorted by culture, fear, and the weight of expectation. What we call reality is in practice a patchwork of beliefs, assumptions, and stories we tell ourselves. But true life, the life that pulses in every breath, refuses to fit into such explanations. Think of something as ordinary as crossing the street. You might do it distracted, your mind tangled in worries about bills, tasks, or deadlines, and cross without awareness. Or you might be present, feeling the wind against your face, hearing the rhythm of footsteps, noticing the world alive around you. The body moves across in both cases, but the quality of life within those moments is completely different. This is what so many philosophers and teachers tried to reveal. Socrates insisted that an unexamined life was not worth living. Buddha warned that clinging to illusions was the root of suffering. Jesus spoke of a kingdom not of this world, pointing to an inner reality untouched by circumstances. Their language differed, but their message converged. Life is deeper than thought can grasp. Why? Is it so hard to see this? Because we are trained to value only what can be measured. A perfect body can be weighed. Success can be counted in salary. Security can be tracked in bank accounts. But the things that truly give life meaning, presence, love, peace, cannot be quantified. What cannot be measured is usually ignored. So we reduce life to numbers and goals, mistaking accumulation for existence, forgetting that what matters most is beyond calculation. Ironically, even when the numbers arrive, the emptiness remains. How many millionaires have confessed that wealth left them restless? How many celebrities, adored by crowds, have admitted to loneliness in their quiet rooms? These are not rare exceptions. They are signals that perhaps we have been searching in the wrong place. This error extends beyond wealth and fame. Students believe joy will come when school ends, only to meet the pressure of work. Couples believe a home will bring peace, only to discover new burdens. Workers long for retirement, only to find themselves lost without purpose. Life keeps promising more than it delivers, until we realize the promise was misplaced all along. This is not a pessimistic message. It is an invitation to look deeper. The frustration we feel when goals do not complete us is not failure, but a clue. It points to another dimension waiting to be noticed. It is as though life constantly whispers, asking us to look beyond thought, beyond appearances, into what is happening here and now. This is not abstract philosophy. Psychology shows that our perception is filtered. We do not see the world as it is. We see it as the mind interprets it, which means there is always more going on than our thoughts reveal. Life is not what you think, because thought is only a narrow lens. What you do not see, what escapes explanation, may hold the very essence of existence. And here is the first shock. Life may not be waiting for you in some distant achievement. It may be here, hidden beneath the constant noise of the mind. The idea is uncomfortable because it dismantles the illusion of control, yet liberating because it opens the door to a new way of being. The question that follows cannot be avoided. If life is not what we think it is, then what exactly are we failing to see? Where is real life if life is not what you think? It is not in goals your mind projects, nor in the images you chase. It is in what remains hidden while sustaining everything you do. Think first of the air you breathe, invisible, without color or shape, rarely noticed yet essential. Without it, no one lasts more than minutes. Think also of time. You cannot hold it, yet it shapes every choice. Think of awareness. It cannot be weighed, yet it decides whether you are awake or only drifting. The invisible is where life gathers strength. The visible is only the surface. What you see are faces, houses, objects, numbers. Yet what matters are the quiet forces that bind them. A parent and a child are not held only by blood. They are held by a fabric of care that no camera captures. The dignity of a worker is not only the paycheck, it is the unseen discipline that keeps promises when no one is watching. The beauty of a meeting is not only two bodies in the same room, it is the field of attention that rises when two people choose to truly see each other. When you reduce life to what can be counted, you lose most of it. Modern habits repeat the idea that numbers are the only truth. Happiness becomes scores on a survey. Love becomes likes on a screen. Success becomes a balance printed on a statement. Yet not everything that can be counted truly counts, and much of what counts refuses to be counted. Different cultures understood this long before the present moment. Egyptians weighed the heart rather than gold. Greeks spoke of a life well lived as the flowering of the soul. Taoist sages pointed to a current that guides all things while remaining unnamed. Across time, the same reminder returns. The invisible shapes the visible. Daily routine keeps pulling eyes to surfaces. We stare at what shines and forget the depth that gives it meaning. A lake looks complete on the skin of its reflection, yet the depth carries the currents. A city looks like streets and lights, yet the life of a city is trust between strangers. Small acts of courtesy, quiet effort at dawn, and the patience that holds conflict inside dialogue. Everyone has felt this truth for a second. A song moves you and there is no clear reason. A view stuns you into silence. A simple gesture from a nurse after a long night shift restores your strength. A teacher believes in a child at the right hour and a path opens. None of this can be captured by a number, yet it changes a life. Even strict science points in this direction. What we call solid matter is mostly space. The atoms of your body are almost entirely void. You live surrounded by what eyes cannot see, held together by forces no hand can grasp. Still, the mind keeps pretending that only what it can touch is real. In ordinary life, the mistake shows up in quiet ways. Parents think they educate only with words, yet tone and presence teach more than lectures. Friendships last because trust flows under conversation. Couples can remain close across oceans when care stays alive, and they can feel miles apart in the same house when that thread breaks. Teams at work perform not only because of plans, but because people feel safe enough to tell the truth. In each case, the decisive element is hidden. The unseen also carries the shadows you avoid. Unspoken anger poisons a room. Quiet envy corrodes a family. A fear of not being enough pushes a person into endless comparison. No photo reveals these currents, yet they steer choices and bend years. By ignoring what is hidden, you become captive to it. What you refuse to face gains strength in the dark. Awareness starts when you allow the unseen to step into view. You name the fear, and it loses some of its grip. You admit the loneliness, and it begins to soften. You tell the truth to yourself, and a new path appears. Healing does not demand a perfect plan. It asks for honest seeing. What remains invisible keeps ruling life until you bring it to light. To see beyond appearances, you need humility. It is hard to accept that ordinary vision is partial. Yet this is the doorway. Humility creates space for curiosity, and curiosity is the bridge. Curiosity keeps you from treating shadows as the whole picture. It makes you listen a little longer, observe a little deeper, and notice details a hurried mind misses. It turns rigid judgment into living attention. Practice helps. Slow your breath for a minute before a hard conversation. Notice the body, feel the tension. Let the shoulders drop. Walk to work without the usual noise in your ears. And study the city as if for the first time. Faces, trees, the rhythm of steps. Eat one meal without a screen. Taste each bite. Feel hunger rise and fall. These are small acts, yet they train. Presence. And presence is the lamp that reveals the hidden room. Purpose grows from the unseen, too. People think they will find meaning in a title, yet meaning often arrives through service no one claps for. A neighbor checks on an elder during a heat wave and discovers a calling. A volunteer teaches reading at night and finds life growing wider. None of this sparks a headline, yet it builds the person from within. Even money fits this pattern when you look closely. A figure on a screen feels like security, yet the feeling of safety is born from trust and wise action. A raise eases pressure, yet peace comes from how you relate to fear. Numbers help, but they are not the whole of life. They are tools, not roots. The unseen is not vague. It is practical. It shapes how you show up in disagreement, how you handle fatigue, how you carry success without arrogance, how you face loss without collapse. It decides whether a hard season becomes only pain or also growth. It writes the tone of your days. Seeing what is hidden is not a single event. It is a way of living. You will forget, then remember, then forget again, and each return can be a little quicker. Over time you feel a shift. You react less and respond more. You chase less and choose more. You rush less and notice more. Without fanfare, your life becomes steadier and more alive. If life is not what appears, then the next turning is clear. How do you live so the hidden becomes part of daily experience? Not only a rare moment, but a steady light. How much of what you see each day is only surface? The mind depends on quick signals to navigate, yet those signals are shallow reflections. To mistake the surface for reality is like believing the shadow is the whole object. The danger is that we build our judgments and even our identity on what can be displayed, while the deeper truth remains unseen. Modern society thrives on this mistake. A bright smile can hide despair. A successful career can mask emptiness. A flawless family photo can conceal silence and distance. The stage is decorated with images that appear convincing, but the backstage tells another story. We applaud the surface while ignoring the root. Social media magnifies this illusion. We scroll through highlights, edited fragments that show joy and success, rarely weakness or confusion. Hours spent watching these images plant a quiet poison. The belief that our own lives are insufficient. We compare unedited reality to polished surfaces. The trap is not only in the showing, it is in the believing. This is not new. Centuries ago, Plato imagined the cave where prisoners watched shadows and believed them to be truth. Today the walls are digital screens, but the shadows remain. We confuse appearances with reality and forget to ask what lies beyond. The surface seduces because it is simple. If someone looks wealthy, we assume freedom. If someone looks happy, we assume peace. If someone looks powerful, we assume control. Yet money can bring more fear. Smiles can be masks, and power can become a cage. The surface hides more than it reveals. The same pattern shapes our own behavior. How many times have you answered, "I am fine," while carrying pain? How often have you projected confidence while shaking inside? These masks are not weakness. They are strategies of survival, but they come at a cost. The more energy you spend on maintaining surfaces, the less energy remains for real presence. Relationships suffer under this weight. Partners share a home, yet often hide their deepest doubts. Friends laugh together yet cover unspoken envy. Families gather yet avoid the subjects that matter most. The visible interactions look normal, but the invisible silence shapes the atmosphere. A single revelation can shatter the illusion and reveal how little of the whole was ever seen. Even our self-image is mostly surface. We believe we know ourselves because we know our habits, our work, our preferences. Yet a sudden crisis can reveal a stranger inside us. Loss, illness, failure, or even unexpected success can bring to light feelings we never imagined. The person we thought we were is only one layer of a much larger self. The collective sphere is not different. Charismatic leaders can charm crowds with polished words while hiding ruthless intentions. Corporations can present themselves as ethical while exploiting unseen workers. Headlines can stir emotion while burying essential facts. In each case, the surface is crafted for impact, while the substance remains concealed. To see through the surface does not mean to distrust everything, but to remember that appearances are never complete. This memory demands humility. It demands patience when the mind wants shortcuts. It demands curiosity when the world offers easy labels. A tree teaches this lesson better than words. At first glance, you notice trunk, branches, leaves, maybe fruit. But the strength of the tree rests in roots buried out of sight. Ignore the roots, and the tree may appear healthy, even as it is dying from below. People are not different. The visible face is only the canopy. The roots of their being remain hidden. To live wiser is to remember this truth. When you listen, ask, what is unsaid? When you watch, notice what is absent. When you feel drawn to judge, pause and consider what lies below the surface. The habit of looking deeper opens doors that surfaces try to keep closed. And here the next question rises naturally. If the surface deceives, how can we live in a way that the hidden truth becomes part of our daily experience? If life is not what you think, and if the surface deceives, then where is real life? The answer is not far away. It is not hidden in some distant achievement. It is here in the way you choose to meet each moment. Life is not a trophy waiting at the end. It is the current flowing now, whether you notice it or not. The first step is to release the illusion of a final destination. Human beings are trained to believe in arrival. I will be happy when I earn more. I will be complete when I find love. I will feel secure when I own enough. But life keeps moving, and the sense of arrival fades quickly. The truth is clear. The journey itself is the destination. Look around and you will see it. Two people may face the same difficulty. One collapses, the other grows. What separates them is not circumstance, it is perspective. The one who sees only the surface sees only loss. The one who notices the unseen finds resilience, meaning a path forward. The same applies to joy. Joy is not only in grand victories or rare celebrations. It hides in ordinary mornings, in shared laughter, in the silence that comforts more than words. Life keeps offering these small doors, but most pass by without opening them. To notice is to live. To ignore is to keep waiting. This does not deny the value of what is concrete. Work, money, relationships all matter. But they are tools, not the essence. When you confuse the tool for the source, you become trapped. When you see the tool for what it is, you are free to use it wisely. The revelation is simple, yet radical. Life does not demand that you conquer more. It asks that you notice what is already here. Every breath, every encounter, every challenge is a chance to be awake. The mind insists on postponing fullness, but fullness is available in the present. Think, carefully, how long will you continue to believe life is only what can be shown, measured, compared? What invisible truths are waiting for you now, hidden in plain sight? Perhaps the answer is not in more effort, but in clearer seeing. Real freedom begins when appearances lose their power. You realize you do not need to prove worth through numbers or images. You no longer chase endless validation. You stop waiting decades for permission to live. Life is not a future promise. It is a present reality. This clarity also brings responsibility. If life is now, then every moment asks for your choice. Will you stay distracted, trapped in surfaces and illusions, or will you open your eyes to what is unseen? The choice belongs to you, and each second offers another chance to begin. Life does not ask for perfection. It asks for presence. It does not require grand conquests. It asks for courage to feel. It does not demand final answers. It asks for openness. The unseen is always here, waiting for your attention. When you choose to notice, you realize you were never abandoned, never empty, never outside the path. So the question remains, what are you leaving unseen right now? What part of life is standing before you while your mind looks elsewhere? Maybe it is in the silence you avoid, in the gesture you dismiss, in the beauty too small for your distracted eyes. Life does not hide, but it will not shout. It waits for you to look. If this reflection touched something inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to continue walking this path of discovery. Because life is not what you think, it is what you finally learn to see.